Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, and today we have a rather special battle for you. I will of course leave it up to you to determine exactly how to interpret the word special. This, in the Japanese Tier 10 battleship, the Yamato, is Stone Yogi. I make no judgments on his choice of name, I think it's actually pretty funny. And he has the extreme misfortune to be taking part in what I believe is a Tier 10 ranked battle. Not that there's anything particularly wrong with Tier 10 ranked battle, it's just, well, you know what, you should just watch. Honestly, it's better if you just watch. Now, I do maintain that communication is often the difference between success and failure in online multiplayer games, and Stone Yogi's team do get off to a very good start. The Marceau instantly communicates to the team which cap circle he's going for. The Shimakaze takes this information on. There's no point in both destroyers going for the same cap circle, but he's not prepared to commit until he knows where the Des Moines is going. So he asks the Des Moines, which way are you going? Because it's useful to know where the team's radar cruiser is. This is where things start to fall apart. The Des Moines is about to start earning his nomination for Best Supporting Actor in today's multimedia extravaganza. He's not talking. Now, this is the EU server. The Des Moines' name is Morton, which means he's probably Norwegian, and it's also possible that he just doesn't speak English. Either way, he's not talking to anyone. So, given a complete and total lack of any kind of useful communication from the Des Moines, the Shimakaze sort of hedges his bets, and he heads north, roughly between cap circles Alpha and Charlie, so depending on how the battle unfolds, he's got the option of going for one or the other. Meanwhile, you can continue to see the good communication developing in chat. The Marceau, who is flipping cap circle Bravo, as he indicated he would do at the start of the game, is asking the Shimakaze, where are you going? And then the Shimakaze quite honestly replies, I don't know. He's just going to see what happens. And, oh, wait until you see what happens. Couple of super ships in play, by the way, one on either team. The French, I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce the name of that thing, the Conde. It's not really going to matter. Neither of them are going to last particularly long. The friendly French super ship has already taken a bit of a spanking and expended his first heal while sailing up the middle, and doesn't really appear to be taking the hint. He's still sailing up the middle, and he's going to continue to receive a spanking. Yogi gets eyes on the enemy Venezia. Can't really see what he's doing behind that island, so he pops the spotter plane, not for the extra range, but to give him the elevated view so he can better judge where to send his shells. And the Venezia kind of gets away with it. Yes, he's taken the hint. He is eating a crossfire there, and he doesn't want any of that. The enemy Conde, however, does not appear to be taking the hint, and is given a nice big flat broadside, and with this elevated view, you can see that he's slowing down and attempting to stay behind the island, but the island isn't providing nearly enough cover. He's too far away from it, so shots out with all 9 18-inch guns. Oh dear, that's going to hurt. Yeah, that left a mark. Meanwhile, the friendly Conde over there appears to have lost all of the health that he just regained from expending his first heal. The Marceau's been spotted and has dropped down to half health, and that is not looking good. Oh, and here come the torpedoes. Very suspicious looking smokescreen up ahead, and judging by the number of torpedoes and the distance to that smokescreen, that's probably going to be the enemy Shimakaze. Torpedoes spotted by the Montana, who managed to dodge all of them and spotted them early enough that they're not going to be any threat to Yogi either, so nicely done. I mean, it was more luck than judgment, but still, credit where credit's due. Meanwhile, if I can just draw your attention to the upper northeast corner of the map, you can see that the friendly Shimakaze has committed to cap circle Charlie, although he's not contesting it. He is in a position to launch some juicy torpedoes at the enemy ships who did, and then maybe sneak the cap circle back out from underneath them. And that is going to make at least one member of the enemy team very, very upset indeed, and is going to provoke him, as you'll see shortly, into launching his own bid for nomination of Best Supporting Arsehole. All of that to come in just a few minutes. Stay tuned, you won't want to miss it. Oh, enemy Shimakaze spotted momentarily. There he is. Nice to know where he is, but if I could just draw your attention for one final time. Nope, too late, he's already gone. Yeah. The friendly Conda, on about 3,000 health, continue to push deeper and deeper into a crossfire between a Grosser Kurfürst and a Venezia on one side, and a Schlieffen and a Yamato on the other side, with completely predictable results. He is our first casualty. You can see a lot of friendly torpedoes up there. They must be 20-kilometre torpedoes from the Shimakaze, up by Cap Circle Charlie. They appear to have completely missed, which isn't entirely surprising. That has to be absolute maximum extreme range for them. They're likely to be running out of fuel any second now. Yep, torpedoes all over the enemy Yamato as well. That Shimakaze is just flooding the ocean with torpedoes. I guess if you throw enough shit at the wall, some of it's going to stick. Maybe. Oh, almost missed it. There it is in chat. The enemy Schlieffen is launching his bid for the nomination as Best Supporting Arsehole in today's battle. All caps, what a destroyer we have. Now, it's not apparent which destroyer he's referring to, but it is the enemy Hayate, who we have not yet seen. Or actually we have. He was spotted by the Shimakaze over in Cap Circle Charlie. Speaking of Shimakazes, here come the next wave of enemy Shimakaze torpedoes as Yogi fires in the general direction of the enemy Schlieffen and scores a couple of hits. Oh, this is going to be really tight. But yes, both he and the Montana have managed to successfully, once again, avoid a full salvo of Shimakaze torpedoes. The friendly Marceau is hidden behind an island on 691 health and slowly whittling down the enemy Conda. It might be a bit of a risk, but it paid off. He did get him, as Stone Yogi unleashes a second salvo at the enemy Schlieffen. And you know what? I like the Schlieffen. I think it's a good ship, but it absolutely cannot take a hit. It just does not have the armour for it. Oh, and he took another big hit. And he is about to get very, very upset indeed. His initial outburst in chat, that was just the appetizer. And while we wait for the Schlieffen to die and become the enemy team's second casualty, the Marceau, who took Bravo, has just become Yogi's team's second casualty. And yes, that is the Des Moines. That is the team's radar cruiser, all the way down in the bottom southwest corner of the map. Now, I'm not saying that's a terrible place for the team's radar cruiser to be, even though it is, because Yogi and the Montana have been exceptionally lucky thus far to have completely avoided the first two Shimakaze torpedo salvos. And their luck isn't going to hold forever. And let's not forget, the Venezia up there has torpedoes too. They've managed to get away with it for a third time, but the Shimakaze is always going to have more torpedoes. And with the radar cruiser lagging 10 kilometers behind them and the fact that neither the Yamato nor the Montana have hydro, it really is just a matter of time before the Shimakaze throws so much shit at the wall that a lot of it is going to start to stick. Fortunately, the friendly Grosser Kurfürst, who does have hydro and has taken a bit of a beating, has activated it and moved up close enough that he's able to cover both Yogi and the Montana with it as well. The enemy Grosser Kurfürst has just gone down to torpedoes launched by the friendly Shimakaze. Nicely done. Oh, hang on a second. Did somebody say Shimakaze? Well, to be honest, the torpedoes that have just appeared could be the Shimakaze, they could be the Hayate. Both of them have quintuple torpedo launchers, and yes, I know there are only 4 torpedoes in that salvo, but it's likely that one of them clipped the side of the island, so it could be either one of the 2 surviving enemy destroyers, which the Schlieffen, if you've been paying attention to chat, is continuing to harass. The Grosser Kurfürst peels away, and there's the Shimakaze, who, we don't know it yet, but the Grosser Kurfürst is about to find out the hard way, has just launched a single salvo of torpedoes down the other side of the island. And with 2 torpedo launchers ready to go, here he comes, at point-blank range. He's getting absolutely hammered, of course, because he's been hit both by Yogi's Yamato and the friendly Montana. He's attempting to smoke up. Gee, it sure would be nice if we had a radar cruiser who could do something about that, and in fact we do. He's within radar range, he's just not using it. Yogi took emergency evasive maneuvers. He was very lucky to only take 3 torpedoes there. Now there's a kind of good news, bad news situation for the enemy Shimakaze, because he's sitting there on less than 2,000 health, and he thought it might be a good idea to try to finish off a 55,000 health battleship with his guns. Fortunately for Yogi's team, that got him spotted. Unfortunately for Yogi's team, it didn't keep him spotted for long enough for him to get killed and the torpedoes that he launched down the far side of the island did land on and sink the Grosser Kurfürst. Meanwhile, the friendly Shimakaze is in deep trouble. He's got the enemy Venezia on the ropes, but too little too late. He was asking for help. Despite their Shimakaze problems, both Yogi and the Montana acknowledged the request for help and attempted to assist him, but sadly not in time to keep the Shimakaze alive. The Shimakaze did, however, manage to set fires on the Venezia that took the Venezia down with him. The enemy Schlieffen, now that he's dead and has nothing better to do than be a complete and utter cock, is continuing to rain fury down on his teammates in battle chat. And he's not restricting his opinions to the enemy Hayate. He's also got a thing or two to say about the Venezia as well. They're all scumbags and noobs, apparently. Speaking of Hayates, there he is. This is the player who, according to the Schlieffen, needs to be reported for being a bot. But you know what? Regardless of what you may or may not think about the Hayate's performance, although it's going to be difficult to have an opinion because this is the first time we've seen him, at least he's got a sense of humour about it. There he is in chat. Feel free to report me. Have a nice day, and best wishes. At least he's not being a dick. I wish the same could be said for the enemy Schlieffen, who's only just getting started. Meanwhile, more Shimakaze torpedoes from in front. There are about to be Hayate torpedoes from behind. Yogi begging the Des Moines in chat, please use your radar, help us out here. And the Schlieffen picks this particular moment to report to everybody that the Hayate only has a 38% win rate, which he seems to think is so funny as Yogi desperately continues to try avoiding torpedoes, and no, again, extremely lucky that he only took one. But the Hayate's alleged win rate of 38% is so hilarious to the Schlieffen that he felt that it needed to be relayed to both teams in all capitals in chat. Now, I'm not saying I don't trust the Schlieffen's opinion, because obviously his performance thus far in chat has indicated that he's a fine and upstanding member of the World of Warships community, but I did take it upon myself to go and actually investigate the Hayate's stats, and his stats are hidden. So the only conclusion that I can draw from that is while it's certainly possible that the Hayate does have a 38% win rate, there's no way the Schlieffen could know that, and he is in fact talking right out of his arsehole. Meanwhile, enemy Yamato. I'm sure by now we're all aware of the vulnerability of the Yamato's cheek armour just below the forward turrets to penetration when angled just like that, resulting in citadels just like these. Stoned Yogi certainly appeared to be aware of it because he's angled away so the enemy Yamato can't do that to him, and he just took advantage of it. The enemy Yamato, if he wasn't aware of it before this battle, he's probably aware of it now. He's angled in now, of course, but day late and a dollar short, because with superstructure shots, even from this angle, Yogi and the friendly Montana should have no problems whatsoever finishing him off. Oh no, he's angled again the other side. I mean, this doesn't even need to be a citadel. Yep, he's dead. So, 2 battleships and a radar cruiser against 2 destroyers. This would normally be extremely bad news for the 2 battleships, but hey, they have a radar cruiser, so no big deal, right? Yeah, about that radar cruiser. They're asking the Des Moines to go to Alpha and radar the Hayate, who is in the process of capping, which seems like pretty sophisticated behaviour for somebody that the Schlieffen claims is a bot. Now, it's fairly obvious that the Hayate is capping because, well, somebody's capping, but just in case there was any doubt, the Schlieffen's there in chat, telling everybody exactly which grid circle he's in. Grid circle? Grid square. You know what I mean, thank you. All assistance is appreciated, but it's fairly obvious we didn't actually need your help. Now, the question of why is it that the Des Moines has never used his radar in this battle? I'm sure that many of you are probably sitting there right now thinking, oh no, he's not a spotter plane Des Moines, is he? Oh no, if only it was that good. Oh, there it is. Did you see it? Yeah, if the Des Moines takes the spotter plane, he can't take radar. That's not even a spotter plane. Those are catapult fighters. They don't provide the increased visibility that spotter planes do. And unlike spotter planes that last 100 seconds, the catapult fighters only last 60 seconds. It's as if he said to himself before the battle, what's the least useful consumable I could possibly choose? And that's what he went for. At least it answers the question of why he hasn't been using his radar. He doesn't have any radar. Meanwhile, the Schlieffen is continuing to keep everybody updated on the Hayate's position, and Stoned Yogi, with the absence of anything actually useful like hydro or radar, is having to use the spotted indicator to keep him appraised of the potential location of the Shimakaze, who could quite easily sink him with 2 further torpedo hits. Now you might be thinking, why are they taking all of these risks chasing after 2 destroyers that they're almost certainly not going to see first? They're ahead on points. All they have to do is wait it out. Well, that's not strictly true. There's more than enough time left for the enemy team to overtake them with 2 of the 3 caps. And the Hayate, and I'm sure the Schlieffen is going to provide a running commentary, even though we don't need it, because it's pretty bloody obvious that the Hayate has just slipped into Cap Circle Bravo and is flipping that, so there are no further points coming in. The Des Moines has finally done something useful in this battle, and is now contesting Cap Circle Alpha. Although based on his performance thus far, there's probably a 50-50 chance that he's either in that Cap Circle because he knows that's where he should be, or he just happens to be there by accident. Meanwhile, Stoned Yogi, oh, that's not good. I mean, it was fairly inevitable that he was going to have to deal with more Shimakaze torpedoes, but that doesn't mean it's good. Well, he's definitely going to take 2. He may take 3. He's slowed and turned. And he's managed to recover enough health that 2 is not going to sink him. He's just managed to avoid the 3rd one. And honestly, I don't think the 3rd one would have been enough to sink him either. He's used the damage control to take care of the flooding. And he probably actually feels pretty safe now because the Shimakaze doesn't have line of sight. And it's going to take him a couple of minutes to reload the torpedoes, and that is all the time he's going to need. He's not looking to hunt and kill the Shimakaze, although if the opportunity presents himself, I'm sure he's going to take it. He just needs to flip this Cap Circle. In fact, he doesn't even need to flip it. He just needs to stop the enemy team from gaining any further points from it. And he's doing that now. And providing that nobody else on the team dies, and with the Schlieffen giving continuous updates in chat as to exactly where the Hayate is and what he's doing, that shouldn't be oh no. The Montana just ate Hayate torpedoes, and his damage control's on cooldown, and he's flooding, and if he dies, the enemy team are going to win. Oh well. You know, it's more than a little ironic that while he was being a raging arsehole in chat, the Schlieffen was actually less used to his team than an ashtray on a motorbike. The Des Moines was actually more useful to Stoned Yogi's team, because whether or not he was doing it on purpose or he just happened to be in the right place at the right time, the Des Moines did actually flip a cap. And the 2 subjects of the Schlieffen's anger, the Venezia and the Hayate, who he desperately tried to sabotage by giving his position away in chat throughout the latter half of the battle, were between them responsible for 80% of the Schlieffen's team's kills. None of which, of course, is any consolation for Stoned Yogi, because even with the Schlieffen actively working against his own team, ironically enough, it was all down to the Hayate at the end, who managed to get the kill on the Montana at exactly the right moment in order to flip the points and win the game. I guess it all just goes to prove what I always say. If you can't take a joke, you shouldn't be playing World of Warships. Take care, folks. Stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.